15 of the most dangerous creatures recently discovered. So this was only 3 years ago, so I'll tell you when they were recently discovered, but 15 strange creatures that we've recently discovered. This will show you how much in the ocean we haven't actually discovered yet, that we're still discovering animals in the last couple of years. Let's see what the most terrifying one is.
Such a variety of animals on our planet. It's perhaps no surprise that researchers...
Hey, Mankind, I'll check it out for sure, bro. I'll check it out for sure.
You never quite know what's going to be announced next, and sometimes they're beyond belief.
Oh my god! Did you see that?
With that said, let's
Oh,
take a
really?
look at 15 of the strangest creatures that have recently been discovered. Like this video, smash the subscribe button. And
Blue
click the
spider? Wait,
notification
what?
bell
Blue spider
right
been
now,
recently
or
discovered?
The centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Americano.
Number 15. Ocean sunfish. Ocean sunfish, also known as mola mola, are one of the largest
Mola mola.
species on Earth.
Man's got 3 A's.
Fully grown, they can weigh anything between 554 and 2,205 pounds and are on
Recently
average around
discovered,
6
by the
feet
way.
long.
Recently.
Their bulk is made up in their width and height, though, with some specimens measuring 10.5 feet tall.
Moto likes you. Favorite animal? I'm gonna say dogs because I got one, and in the next week or two you will see a second one on the stream. We bought a Dalmatian, a pup Dalmatian, so you'll see him on the stream. I see her on the stream very soon as well. I'm gonna say dogs. Name's so nice. You say it twice. Moto. Dalmatian, yeah, a baby Dalmatian, a puppy Dalmatian. Yeah, Cooper, you can't spell, boy.
8 feet 2 from fin to fin. They can be found in warmer ocean waters around the world, where they hunt their diet of jelly, squid, and crustaceans. They can swim across the various levels of the ocean and have been found ranging between the surface and the seafloor. Apart from their unusual look and
You like
incredible
possums?
size, one of the most amazing things about this species is that they produce more eggs than any other vertebrate that we know of, and can release as many as 300 million at once. Of course, this reflects...
Hold on, we're not gonna let this slide. Casey says, you like what? What do you like, Casey? We're talking about animals here. Okay, we're talking about animals. I mean, you might like it, but I don't think a male's private part is an animal. Wasn't going to slide over that, you know. Caught in 4K, I know. Caught in 4K. Hey, Casey, it's newly discovered animal. Is it now? Johnny Sins. I am Johnny Sins. Man of many talents.
the low chances they have of reaching maturity, as when they're small, they don't have the same defensive bulk as the adults. Because of their size when fully grown, they have very few
pet
natural
deck.
predators, but
Yeah.
are commonly targeted by sea lions, killer whales, sharks, and humans. Time for the rare topic. We found these images that were recently taken by a research team working in South America, and as you can see, they found something quite extraordinary. About 4 feet tall, this creature hasn't yet been given an official name, but it looks like something that's come straight out of a fantasy movie. Almost human-like in appearance, it has extremely long hands and feet, and ears that appear to be perfectly adapted to hearing sounds across vast distances in the jungle. What do you think it is? And if this is a new species, what would you call it? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag.
Casey said it's tea in the morning. I know, what the fuck is that?
Showed on screen. And now to the next topic.
A new creature. It looks like fucking Doppy. The fuck?
Official name, but it looks like something that's come straight out of a fantasy movie. Almost human-like in appearance, it has extremely long hands and feet, and ears that appear to be perfectly adapted to hearing sounds across vast distances in the jungle.
Doppy gives master
And if
mommy
this
look.
is a new species, what would you call it? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag rare topic, and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. And now to the
I
next
know.
topic.
I seen it on the comment. If I want to use the comment.
Gnathis dynema, the deep ocean.
Right, we just discovered a
Number 14.
Lacio Negatios DM. Wait, what the fuck? Bro. Give it a name. Like a spiky longfish.
Ognathus dyneema. The deep ocean is a mysterious place that we are only just starting to learn far more about.
Off at will through a chemical process known as bioluminescence.
In this world, which is flooded with darkness because sunlight can't penetrate that far down, the various species have developed ingenious techniques for survival. Food is scarce, and predators have to take every opportunity they can for a meal, and one of the most famous types of adaptations is a bioluminescent lure. One of the more recent species to be discovered that uses one of these is the Ognathus dyneema. It's a type
Definitely
of
Latin.
wolf trap anglerfish that dangles a light in front of its head to attract other fish. Those that fall for the trap swim almost directly into its mouth, and all it needs to do is bite at the right time. This species lives in the northern Gulf of Mexico at depths of between 3,000 and 5,000
Mexico.
feet. What
Mexico.
might surprise you is the difference in size of males and females of
That's next door to
all
Breezy.
fish species. The ones we see images of are the females because the males are much smaller. So much so that when it's time to mate, they're actually absorbed into the female's body and are used as an extra source of nutrition. Number 13. Headless chicken.
Before we get on to the headless chicken monster on the screen, when they mate, the more eats the male as a source of protein because they're that small. Excuse me?
Fish species. The ones we see images of are the females because the males are much smaller. So much so that when it's time to mate, they're actually absorbed into the female's body and are used as an extra source of nutrition. Number 13.
The fuck?
Headless chicken monster. At first, you might be skeptical to hear of an animal that's been given a Latin name that literally translates to mean the headless chicken monster. But everything becomes clear once you actually see it. The species was first seen in 2018 during an underwater dive by a rover from a team of Australian researchers who were exploring the ecosystem in the Southern Ocean just off the coast of Antarctica. Amongst various species they'd seen before, this one suddenly appeared and has been identified as a type of deep-sea cucumber. It uses its wing-like fins to swim through the water, and in the video, the strange red creature was seen searching the seabed with its tentacles. Species like this feed on small particles like algae and can cover large areas every day in their quest for food. Apart from its appearance, which does indeed look like a chicken without a head, this species has an adaptation that hasn't been seen in a sea cucumber before. While they spend most of their lives at the bottom of the ocean, these ones are
Don't know where they got
able to
chicken
use
from.
their fins to swim upwards, which suggests they're also able to harvest food from the water column. Headless chicken monsters have only ever been seen 2 times, with the other being in the Gulf of Mexico, so it's not quite clear yet quite how widespread they are. Number 12. Wallace's giant bee. While we've known about Wallace's giant bee for a long time, having been named after a researcher called Wallace, who
I don't want to watch it.
first discovered in 1858,
I don't want to watch it.
they had long been thought to be extinct until a recent discovery. They're the largest known
I don't wanna watch it.
species in the world, and the females can grow to be 1.5 inches long with an open wingspan of up to 2.5 inches. They're black resin bees, which means they don't live in the large communities more commonly associated with honeybees.
I don't wanna watch
Instead,
it.
they're thought to take over termite nests inside trees and use tree resin to further reinforce the walls for protection. There are only 3 islands in the world where they are known to have existed, all of which are in Indonesia. Because of their life cycles and the remoteness of where they live, very little is known about their distribution or how many of them that there are. But to give an idea of how elusive these giant bees are, there have only been 4 sightings in the past 40 years, 1 in 1981, 2 in 2018, and 1 in 2019.
That one's over.
First time a living female was recorded on video. Number 11. Giant squids. For hundreds of years, seafarers have told tales of huge monsters that live in the open oceans. Just look at ancient maps and you'll see they're decorated with warnings of what may lurk in the depths. But for a long time, people thought they were just the insane rambling tales of people who'd spent too long away from dry land. More recently, however, it's been discovered that there's a phenomenon called deep sea gigantism that means for some reason certain species that live at great depths are able to grow to unbelievable sizes. One of these is the giant squid, and while we've known a lot about them for a long time because of carcasses
No way that
that are
bee
washed
crawled up,
ashore,
bro. Nah.
it was only recently that a living specimen has been seen in its natural environment. They have the biggest eyes of any known animal and are thought to be able to grow to up to 43 feet long. Their tentacles are used to wrap around prey and suffocate it, in a similar way to how constrictor snakes do, and then pull the food towards their sharp beaks. Japanese researchers managed to capture the first video footage of a giant squid in 2004, and in 2019, the first one in US waters was also recorded. There
US
is
waters.
debate about how prevalent these creatures truly are throughout the ocean and how many different species there might be. But with improving technology, we might soon find out. Number 10. Hog-nosed rat. These cute animals are called hog-nosed rats, and it's only recently in 2015 that researchers discovered them on the island of Sulawesi in Indonesia. The only place on the island where they've been seen is on the slopes of Mount Dako, where the rodents forage for earthworms and beetles. To find food in this environment, they've developed specific adaptations. The most obvious is their noses, which help them smell the best places to dig, and their front feet are perfect for pulling the earth aside to see what's below. Unusually for rats, their incisors are particularly long, something that's believed to have developed so they can...
That's not good. Rats are not good, bro. Rats are not good.
And
I don't
for
care.
some reason, they have much longer pubic hair than any other known rat. Their jaws, however, aren't as powerful as those of other related species,
Lap
which
possums.
is probably because worms and beetle larvae don't require forceful chewing. As a recently discovered species, it's not yet clear how many there are or whether they live on other parts of the island too. Animals that are confined to one specific location.
Exactly what I thought
higher
too.
risk of
Man says got the most
population
pubes out of any rat
due
and
to
this whatever. I was like, really?
or
We
human
need to know that why?
causes. So researchers are trying to determine whether they should be classified as being at risk of extinction. Number 9. Neopalpa Donald Trumpi. As such powerful and influential
Where are we going with this? 15 strangest creatures recently discovered.
Number 9.
This one is called
Neopalpa
Neopalpa Donald Trumpi. And Neopalpa Donald Trumpi. They named the fucking animal they recently discovered Neopalpa Donald Trumpi. What the fuck is this animal?
Donald Trumpi. As such powerful and influential people, presidents often have streets, schools, and warships named after them. But biologists also like to name newly discovered animals in their honor too, and it's been no different for Donald Trump. Meet the Neopalpa Donald Trumpi, a species of moth that was discovered in Southern California and northern Mexico in 2017. The thing that makes it stand out from other Neopalpa moths is the yellowish-white color of its head scales, and this is why it seemed obvious to name it after the president. The scientist who chose the name admitted he had another motive too. Doing so brought attention to the species and helped highlight how important it is to protect fragile habitats around the world. The Neopalpa Donald Trumpi is particularly susceptible to urbanization because of the regions where they're found, and it's possible they won't be around for much longer. The moths are no more than a few
Donald
inches
Trump or the
long, but their
moth?
antennae extend beyond this and are themselves about 2/3 the length of their wings. Both males and females look very similar to each other, but for some reason their reproductive organs are much smaller than in other comparable species. Number 8.
Number 8.
Sea toad. Sea toads are a type of deep-sea anglerfish that live in the
I don't like
waters
this
of the
video.
Atlantic, Indian, and Pacific Oceans at depths of around 8,000 feet. They're bizarre-looking creatures with large, transparent, bulbous...
Forgot I was streaming that I wasn't listening to a
and
nature documentary.
small, spiny scales. They're believed to grow to a maximum size of around
I don't like
12
this
inches
video,
long
you know.
and
Not
have
gonna lie, I don't like this video.
adaptation to their gills that means they can inhale large amounts of water, which results in their body
Man
size
just looks like a
increasing by
ball of
almost a
spikes.
third. This is a useful defensive technique because it makes any potential predators think twice about attacking. Like all anglerfish, one of their dorsal fins has a bioluminescent lure that hangs in front of their mouths to attract prey, and their other fins resemble legs. With these, they appear to walk across the seabed, and in some videos seem to stand still on one leg in the silt, almost like a flamingo. With these adaptations to their fins, they aren't very good swimmers and have been seen using their legs to help traverse the environment and escape from danger. We've still got far more to learn about them, and researchers think there are far more unusual creatures like this still waiting to be found.
Oh, for sure, because we haven't discovered ocean.
Cyophylla sugimoto. Most plant species in the world
What?
feed themselves by photosynthesis, where they absorb sunlight
Yeah, I know what
carbon dioxide
photosynthesis
filter
is.
it into
I
energy.
don't biology, chemistry, and
That's why they have
physics.
green leaves, because only green wavelengths of light are useful for this process. There are, however, some species of plants that aren't
This
able
isn't
to
a
harness
creature,
the sun rays,
surely.
like the recently discovered Cyophylla sugimoto, which uses an entirely different method altogether. Found on Ishigaki Island in Japan, where they've developed in isolation from the rest of the world, they are what's known as mycoheterotrophic plants, which means that they've developed a symbiotic relationship with a type of fungus. They share nutrients between each other, with the fungus responsible for extracting the nutrients from the environment, and the Cyophylla sugimoto helping to prevent any other plants from growing nearby that would compete for resources. They also provide the color that attracts animals and insects, which transport the pollen and seeds to different parts of the island so new plants and fungi can grow. It's the perfect example of two species working together in harmony, and without each other, it would be much more difficult for them to thrive. Number 6.
I don't understand that one.
Cave-dwelling beetle. Caves
I hate
are
this
some of
video.
the best
I
places
hate
to
this
explore
fucking
if
video,
you want
bro.
to find a new species, as the dark and dingy environment
I hate this video. I
provides
hate shit like
plenty of
this.
hiding places that previous
I hate
researchers
wasps,
may have
beetles,
overlooked.
those type of
One
things.
recent discovery was the cave-dwelling beetle. The
I will
scientific
watch
name
videos
is
about
Shigaithus
yes, I am.
gallus,
I
and
will
is
watch
only
videos
found
about
through
sharks and
in the
fucking
Chinese province of Guangxi.
massive
It has been
apes and
described as
dinosaurs and
being
things that
the
could
most
kill me. Yes,
extremely
these things here,
cave-adapted
out of here.
technique ever to
I'd be
have been
mad.
found, and it's
Mad
perfectly
fucking
suited
nice
to
one.
its surroundings. No light enters the cave where they live, so they have no eyes, but they also haven't got any wings or pigmentation. They have thin bodies that are up to 1/3 of an inch long and 1/20 of an inch wide, and can be easily identified by their yellowish brown color and a shiny head. As they're a species only recently known to science, and because it's difficult to observe them in their natural environment, it's not yet known how they hunt for food or even what they like to eat. They're thought to scavenge for microplant particles in the cave, but it's also possible they eat creatures that are smaller than themselves too. Number 5. Tardigrades. Tardigrades are one of the most
again.
unbelievable known species on Earth. And even though they were first discovered in the 18th century, we're only just learning how special these microscopic animals are. They grow to a maximum size of 1/50th of an inch long and are plump, with 4 pairs of legs that end with claws or sucking discs. There are around 1,300 different known tardigrade species, but each of them possess similar capabilities. The reason why they're so important to science is that they can adapt and survive to any environment that they're placed in. It doesn't matter how hot or
Don't know if I
cold they
like
are.
this,
They can
bro.
survive extreme radiation, extreme pressures, and a complete lack of
These
air
are
or food.
recently
Just
discovered,
one
bro.
of these
All these are
would be enough to
recently
kill
discovered.
virtually any other known animal. But tardigrades can form a shell around themselves and re-emerge when things are safe again. Normally they're found
One
in
of these can
water
kill
or
any
in
animal.
lichens and mosses, and where communities live, they exist.
Yeah,
in
I'm gonna have a
huge numbers.
Cajun chicken
One
wrap.
liter of water
That's my
can
dinner
contain
and a
as many
butt.
as 25,000 individuals, and they eat exclusively plants or bacteria. Tardigrades have been around for hundreds of millions of years and have survived through all 5 of the known extinction events that have devastated the planet. It's hoped that by learning more about them, we can find ways to help protect ourselves in extreme environments, with a particular focus on how to stay healthy during long-term space flights. Number 4. Noloptodes grete beetle. This is the Noloptodes grete beetle, a species that was first collected in Kenya during the 1960s, but was only recently uncovered.
Bro, I hate fucking insects and bugs like this, bro. I don't care about beetles. Recently discovered. Show me some random ass shark or something you haven't recently
The
discovered.
collection of them is thought to be the only time they've ever been seen, and is also why they're so easily lost within the museum's archives. This species has no eyes or wings and can be told apart from other similar beetles because of the telltale pit that can be found on its face where the eyes would normally be. They live in lead litter and soil where they can look for fungus and spores to feed on, something which is made easier by their sensitive antennae. These structures are often said to resemble ponytails, and this is why the beetle was given the name Noloptodes grete, after Greta
Imagine a beetle shark. Oh, bro.
teenage environmental campaigner who worked
Sharks I
for her
can
head
watch all
in a
day,
similar
bro.
way.
I know it's
3.
scary. 3.
Loridia collini spider. There are 3 species of Loridia spiders: the Loridia anulipes, the Loridia collini, and the Loridia lucasi,
Bro.
all named after the guitarist and lead singer for the Velvet Underground, Lou Reed, because they're a type of velvet spider that, you guessed it, live underground. Found in Andalusia and the southern coast of Spain. They live in hills and mountainous terrain, and like the velvet spiders that live above ground, they have some unusual characteristics. The first is that they've been found to work in communities and assist each other with rearing the young. They have an almost unheard of maternal instinct for spiders and literally sacrifice themselves for their young, unlike many other species of spiders that have even been seen to eat their own hatchlings. The mother of this species, however, begin to liquefy their own internal organs to provide food for the spiderlings, and continues to do so.
I don't think I can. I think I just keep walking down my phone.
The young will eat the rest of her body too, and only then will they go out into the wider world. Number 2. Leaf-tailed gecko. There are hundreds of different types of species of lizards and geckos around the world, but there's one island where they've evolved separately to everywhere else, and is home to countless unique species.
What is this?
Hardly a year goes by without the announcement of an
Gecko?
incredible
Oh,
new
okay, that's fine.
2019 was a particularly special year with the revelation of a new species of leaf-tailed gecko, found exclusively in the Ankarana Special Reserve. They look quite similar to other leaf-tailed geckos, but have some noticeable differences. Their tails, for example, are quite a bit longer, and they have smooth skin on their backs. At first, researchers just thought they'd found an unusual specimen of a different species, but after finding several more, they realized that they'd stumbled across a whole new one. One of the other things that makes them different is the coloration on the insides of their mouths. Other species have mouths that are totally black, but this new one has red patches. Now officially named the Europlatus fetsi, which means sly because of their hiding techniques. Work is now underway to find out how far-ranging they are and whether they're facing any threats. Number 1. Vogelkop superb bird. Birds of paradise are some of the most stunning and
You're a bird.
Vogelkop.
This is a bird. Homemade burgers and a smoker of heirloom tomatoes, sliced red onions, and avocados, slate of raw cauliflower florets. Oh, I'll take the dessert. Homemade chocolate peanut butter ice cream.
Superb bird. Birds of paradise are some of the most stunning and unique looking birds in the world. Found across New Guinea and eastern Australia, there were 41 known species until 2018, when one that was originally classified as a subspecies was officially elevated to being recognized as a species in its own right. Now known to be distinctly different from the very similar looking superb bird of paradise, these ones are called Vogelkop birds of paradise and live in the mountains of the Bird's Neck Peninsula in western New Guinea. Amazingly, they have plumage that's a deep shade of black that they absorb 99% of the light that shines onto them. But as you'll see from these images, this darkness is offset by turquoise blue feathers that play a particularly important role in their mating ritual. Birds of paradise are renowned for their odd dances and courtship routines, and this species is no different. In fact, the way that they hop around is so different from other birds that it's one of the reasons researchers started
the
to
fuck's
realize
Becky?
that they were their own species in the first place. Which of these are you most amazed by? And are there any that you'd want to have as a pet? Make sure to let us know in the comments section. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing.
Is there any you would like to have as a pet? Maybe the bird would be nice. This creepy little human. I don't know who Becky was. What are we calling the human? Someone thinks they were photographer. Look at Becky and Ron birthing. Wait, what? What am I looking up, Casey? On YouTube, I look at Becky and Ron.
This is a nice stick. I like sticks. Pick.
Let me smash. Please.
No, Ron. Go find Becky.
You want some fuck?
No, Ron. I don't want some
I
fun.
got you blue. Hey girl. You want some tail? Flint.